Welcome back everyone to another Psych Reacts video. Today we're looking at the eerie case of the Watcher. It is on BuzzFeed Unsolved, so if you're interested in seeing the full video, I'll leave a link in the description below. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the video.
Let's do it. Let's get into it.
Ooh. In June 2014, Maria Broaddus, her husband Derek, and their 3 young children were getting ready to move into their new home, 657 Boulevard in Westfield, New Jersey. The 6-bedroom, $1.3 million house was their dream home, located only a few blocks from Maria's childhood home in what was then the 30th safest town in America, according to the website Neighborhood Scout. A mere 3 days after closing the sale, before the Broaddus family had even moved in, a letter arrived at their new mailbox. The new owner was written by hand on the envelope in thick, clunky letters. The typed letter began, quote, "Dearest new neighbor at 657 Boulevard, allow me to welcome you to the neighborhood," end quote.
Okay, so the Watcher is somebody who watches a house in New Jersey. This has been passed down from generations, as we will see later in one of the notes. However, they mention dearest new neighbor. Now, that makes you think that the person is somewhere in the neighborhood. However, in my opinion, I believe that this person actually doesn't live in the neighborhood. Now, I want to point out that the neighbors were screened for DNA, as they have found DNA on one of the Watcher's letters. Now, it was deemed a woman's DNA, so they screened everybody in the neighborhood, and nothing came back positive. Now, I have a running theory that the Watcher wanted the neighbors to think that they were a part of the neighborhood. However, I think they lived in a different neighborhood that was kind of close to this development.
The letter, however, was anything but welcoming. It went on, quote, "How did you end up here? Did 657 Boulevard call to you with its force within? 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades now, and as it approaches its 110th birthday, I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming."
Okay, this is where the letter starts to get a little bit creepy, right? First, the Watcher says, "Did 657 Boulevard call to you with its force within?" Now, what is this person speaking of? Are they talking that the house has an entity inside of it? Are they talking that the house is a living, breathing thing? They're talking as if the house is a person, that the house has a force that pulls people into the building. The next thing that the Watcher says is that 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades now. I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming. What was its first coming, right? First of all, the subject of the house has been in the family for decades. So that means that this was passed down generations from generations. And I don't know if they just taught their children to be like, hey, you gotta watch this house, it's something special. Or like what they said to their children to actually keep the tradition going. Let me know if you have any ideas in the comments below. But the second coming is a little bit eerie, right? What was the first coming? Did something happen to another family that was previously in it? I mean, since this has been the subject of the family for decades, it's possible that something might have happened earlier. If you have any information about that, I'll also leave it in the comments below.
My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s, and my father watched in the 1960s. It is now my time.
So it seems as though the house was been passed down from father to son, because the Watcher says my grandfather watched it and then my father watched it. But they found evidence of a woman's DNA on the Watcher's letter. So that's where it starts to get a little bit tricky, right? Did the father not have a son? Did they pass it on to their daughter instead, right? Or did somebody in relation to the Watcher actually do the licking of the envelope to throw the police off? These are the things that we have to be careful of when we're talking about secretive people.
Who am I? There are hundreds and hundreds of cars that drive by 657 Boulevard each day. Maybe I am in one. Look at all the windows you can see from 657 Boulevard. Maybe I am in one. Look out any of the many windows in 657 Boulevard at all the people who stroll by each day. Maybe I am one.
Okay, this is where it starts to get even more eerie, right? So the Watcher is almost threatening the family of the house. The Watcher is saying that maybe I am somebody in the neighborhood. Maybe I'm somebody in a car that's coming by. Maybe I am somebody that strolls by the house. So this gives you the feeling that you are being watched, right? Hence the Watcher. So one thing about the Watcher is that they want the family to know that they are being watched. Now, the video mentions later that the previous owners of the house didn't actually receive any letters until they were about to sell it. So is it possible that the previous generation, the father per se, didn't send any letters? Maybe the father passed away and the daughter or the son picked it up. Were there any letters previously from the grandfather perhaps? I am unaware. However, if not, it's possible that the past generations were more likely to just watch and be further away from the situation, whereas this brand new watcher is wanting to be sadistic, is wanting to be lucrative. They want to be known. That it's possible that this generation of the watcher wants to revel in the fact that, hey, this obsession has been in my family for generations, and I want people to know about it. It gets even worse. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Quote, "You have children. I have seen them. So far, I think there are 3 that I have counted. Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested? Better for me. Was your old house too small for the growing family? Or was it greed to bring me your children? Once I know their names, I will call to them and draw them to me." End quote.
So now the watcher has moved on from the house itself and has started to dive into the details of the family. If we back it up here, it says, so far I think there are 3 that I have counted. Did the family go into the house and check it out before they bought it? Or did they go in and check it out after they bought it? Or both, right? And bring the children with them. Then the watcher says, do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested? He refers to the children as young blood, as if it is their own personal gain. Once again, the watcher refers to the house as a living, breathing object. Fill the house with the young blood I requested. It seems as though he's referring to the house as feeding on their energy and taking it in. Then the watcher mentions, or was it greed to bring me your children? What do they mean by that? Does the watcher believe that the family wants to get rid of their children? I don't know. It's a little bit strange, isn't it? So that is the first note that the watcher sent to the Broadduses. If you want to see the second and the third notes, make sure you drop a like down below. Also let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. Make sure if you haven't already to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future videos. But that's going to do it for this one, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!